Hello and welcome. I'm Sue Ann, here with my co host Jamie. Thank you for checking out the Marketing Mirror. How are you, Jamie?
I am doing good. The sun's shining. It's Friday. How are you?
The sun's shining in Friday. Good news. It's Friday.
Yes, we made it
Um,
through a post-holiday week.
and I'm so glad we're here together today because we have a really important topic to discuss. Because instead of a destination where people arrive to meet you, your website is now a place where platforms learn about you. So let's run our quick intro and then we're going to jump right into the topic. This is a 1 minute, maybe a 1.5 minute intro so that everybody is on top of what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to hit that now. Once upon a time, your website was a digital home, welcoming visitors and giving them the ability to learn about your business 24/7. There was a come on in and get to know me kind of vibe. You wanted guests to become visitors and then subscribers and finally to become your new favorite customers. But things have changed, my friends, especially with AI agents searching your site. The nurturing time frame is shrinking. Your website's job has changed. It is no longer just a destination for web traffic. It's a business owned data center for brand truth, entity clarity, conversion, and AI readable content. Yep, you heard that right. The AI era we are experiencing is a major disruptor to what I call your digital business card, better known as your website. But don't worry, we have the answers for you in today's episode of The Marketing Mirror, starting with those pesky no-click answers now stopping your traffic from search in a big way. No visitors to welcome to your welcoming digital home. But if you're thinking you don't need a website or blog, you'd really better stay tuned. Thank you for checking out The Marketing Mirror. Now let's go figure this out. So let's figure this out, but first let's greet our friend Lisa. Lisa, we can't believe you don't have internet. I'm so glad you made it from your phone. This is an important topic, and this is something I know that you're into optimizing that website and making the most of an SEO that's diminishing, or maybe it's just changing and evolving, and that's what we're going to try to discover today. Right, James?
Yes, it's a critical topic. So, thank you to everyone for joining us.
So your site still needs to attract visits, but its bigger job is to supply trustworthy, structured, quotable information that can travel across search results, AI answers, review platforms, and discovery systems. So, in short, your website is shifting from a simple brochure to a knowledge base, from a destination to a data center. So, in my humble opinion, perhaps your website is more important, not less important, but more important than ever. So let's talk about it. What do you say, James?
Yes, we were talking about this a minute ago. Some people seem to claim that your website and SEO in general are not as important anymore, and we don't agree with that at all. So, we're about to dive into why we don't agree with that.
Haha, we've got you covered. It's interesting because we have entered a zero click world. And the answers are being brought up right on Google or right in your AI search or AI discussion, you're getting your answer without having to click to any site at all. And interestingly, you'll see that I put up two statistics here. 58% of Google searches end in no clicks, because that was the figure I had from my research from I think it was SparkToro initially, or maybe SEMrush, and that data was, I thought, set. And then I got an email from our friend Ivana, who is in the Monday group that we do with Bizapalooza Chat. Shout out to Bizapalooza Chat. But anyway, on X, but she stated that 68% of Google searches now end with a without making a single click. So I'm like, what is right? What is right? So I looked into it further, and in fact, both are correct. And the 58% is the end of 25 and into 26. By mid 26, where we are now, the 68% is correct. And I think that is really something to pay attention to, because wow, that's a walloping increase in a short amount of time, meaning that this topic is really important and powerful right now.
That's a crazy jump.
Shocker, right, Lisa?
Yes.
So let me, I thought I hit that. So we're in a new world of AI everywhere. And so, of course, search is affecting websites. I shared an article on X. I'll have to get I don't have that link handy right now, but it was a study about blogs and websites that were popular as 10 years ago or 12 years ago, and how are they doing now? And there was very few that were really popular. I mean, that are still holding up at all, that are still getting traffic. Everyone else has lost as much as 80 or 90% of their traffic from Google, which is shocking. One of the websites that are still doing really well and has been growing in spite of the change in search is Lisa's friend Ryan Robinson, who owns Right Blogger, the AI tool that she uses. And I think one of the reasons that he's been so successful and maintained and grew traffic is due to the fact that he has a tool, and that makes him uber relevant right now. And that's one of the ways that we find that we can jump into being noticed on search.
Well, Lisa has jumped in and shared that her clicks are up, which is good to hear, because we were talking earlier about it's kind of scary how people simply rely on the AI results and just take them with a grain of salt. You really need to dig deeper. Even when you get those AI search results, dig deeper and go into the source, not just for the click, but to study the source and make sure it's legitimate and get more context and more information to round out your search results. So thanks for sharing, Lisa.
It's an interesting thing, because it really still is crawling the same thing as Google SEO. So we're still crawling, but with AI as the tool. So don't forget that, because it's not that we're not, even though SEO, a lot of people are saying SEO is being phased out or is disappearing. It's really, I think, just a transformed or evolving SEO. It's still important things like building trust and building authority, building credibility, being a source that people know to go to for specific things that you take care of. There's so much that you can do beyond just what we've been doing. We've got to get deeper, I think, all the way around in a way. So one of the things that we've got to do to get beyond just thinking traffic is we've got to be thinking about visibility, where that comes from, and how to gain that, how to increase credibility with fewer visits possibly to our sites, and how retrieval of our data is becoming an important issue, and maybe one of the most important issues that we need to concentrate on right now, making sure that our information is retrieved, is crawled, is found, so that it even has a chance to show up on SERPs or in the snippets or things like that. And we have to concentrate on conversion, because we're going to have probably a more intentional visitor with our lesser visitors. They're going to be more intentional when they get there, and we'll talk more about that.
Well, and this is such a perfect follow-up topic to last week where we talked about building your brand and finding your brand voice. Because even if they're not clicking through to your website, those AI search results that are pulling from your website are part of your audience's interaction with your brand. So you really have to make sure you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed and you have everything in order to help build your brand presence online.
It's getting deeper and it's getting so interesting, but it really does follow the things that we have been working on. So we can just, skew it in a different way, I think, and do well if we think about it. So we do need to understand Google and AI systems, or we need to be understood by them in what we put out. I said that kind of backwards, but you guys know what I meant. And we need to be a trusted source, or be trusted, period. We have to gain trust in a world where people don't know, is it real, is it fake, what's AI, what's happening. We have to be real to gain trust. And so we have to be trusted by humans, but also by machines. That's the new hitch, even though you could say that the AI, before the AI, the SEO, the Google algorithm, there was still an algorithm. AI is another algorithm, you guys. So, but I say that when humans trust you, when you get noticed, and when you have a human following, you have human interest, the machines are going to follow. Just like Google followed those who established themselves and stood out to humans. Humans, the end result.
And it's also important that you understand where AI is scanning, where these LLMs are going. So there's been a lot of buzz about Reddit, and Reddit's a great site. And, LLMs are scanning Reddit. So what people have figured out, because humans always lead, we always figure out everything, is that the LLMs are not necessarily scanning Reddit, they're scanning Google search for Reddit results, two different things. So I just saw a video from Edward Sturm last night. Edward builds on IG, and I'll drop that link in the chat, that people have started to hack these results by adding Reddit, the keyword Reddit, to their website, blog posts, headers, so that LLMs scanning Google search will pick up their website results and blog results as if it's pulling it from Reddit, and use that in its AI search results. So it'll be interesting to see how Google and LLMs react to this hack once they figure it out.
I can't believe people do that. It's like,
Yeah,
will people do anything to scam the system? That's partly why things get mixed up. Everybody, like keyword stuffing, black hat
yes,
working in digital. I you
yeah.
know, this is why trust is such an important factor, I guess. But what you're going to find is, because there's so much sorting by AI agents and things like that, that you will end up with higher intent visitors when you get the click or the visit to your site. And so that's going to put a little bit on you to make sure that your site is up to snuff and, pulling its weight. It's taking the responsibility for some things. Now, Google says that generative search is still rooted, as we've been saying, in SEO systems, and that the website remains foundational even when traffic patterns change. So Google is saying, don't throw your website out. They're saying it. And the strategic implication for us is simple. Your website is still essential, but success can no longer be measured by clicks alone. So it's not just, grabbing the visitors, getting the visitors, having the easy click from all your socials. I was trying to get a URL on an article that I found on LinkedIn today. You wouldn't believe how hard it was for me to get LinkedIn off of the, like, to get out of LinkedIn. It took me so many clicks to get out of LinkedIn to get a clean URL to share. It
Yeah.
was for Andy's article, which I probably should have just looked at my email because I probably get the direct link to his site instead of having to go through LinkedIn. But I saw it on there and it's what we're talking about. And I could not get LinkedIn tracking off of there. Have you guys
Isn't
run
that
into?
frustrating? I've run into that issue with Facebook before, that they're all trying to keep you on their site and their readers, and it's frustrating.
Oh, Lisa has an update for us. This is a good one, guys. She's saying that Reddit isn't doing very. And I was
Well,
actually. Go
it
ahead.
makes sense with what we're talking about with people trying to hack their traffic
Well,
and
here's
pull
the
it.
thing. We mentioned this when we were getting prepped for the show too. Our friend Ann Smarty, who is super great on the SEO front, and was way ahead on changing it to AI SEO. She's been talking about Reddit marketing because using the community billboard of Reddit was getting picked up by Google and AI. It was one of the leading things that AI seemed to be tracking. And I think because it's trying to get the beat of the community, it's trying to find out what's trending, what people are talking about it, or how they're talking about a specific subject. I think that's why these communities are getting scanned or crawled. But my thinking is like, yeah, for now, that's being picked up. I kept thinking for
Yeah,
now, and that could change, and that could change at any time. So Reddit to me is a full-time other job, at least the way that Ann does talk about it. And so, I'm not really a Redditor, but keep in mind that you want to maximize and optimize whatever way it is that you go about gaining attention and optimizing for search and visibility, right?
absolutely. Yes, if you're going to do something, do it well. Don't be somewhere just to be there. That's not helpful to your brand at all.
And it might work different for different types of businesses, brands, and audiences. We always have to be aware of all of that going on. So the shift, do do do. See, my guys shook up in the shift. What is your website's new job? How do we go about this? How do we work towards fixing this and to getting that notice that we need to stay in business and to be understood and to build our brand and all of the things? We have to maintain in this digital space, so we still need that anchor of our data center of our website. But let's see what to do. Oh, we need to think about what our winning metrics are. It's not just the click, it's not just the visit, right? It's got to go
Right.
deeper. Branded recall is one of the ones. Cited pages, leads. If you're being found, if you have visibility in different AI, and remember, there's a lot of different AI engines, so it's not just ChatGPT, it's ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and on and on. So there's a big area to cover with what you put out there. But you're looking at how your website responds in determining a different way to measure these things. And so I think you have to be flexible and think about that as well. So we talked about this. You want to talk about it, Jane? This is a huge one, in my opinion.
Yes. So, everyone, part of the reason why your website is still so valuable today, even if people aren't clicking through, is that you have to answer the questions that your audience is asking. So, that's what AI, these LLMs are pulling and putting in their search results. So, of course, the more you know your audience, which we talked about last week, is crucial to understanding their needs and what they're asking. But also, this is where resources like Answer the Public come in, you can go there and see exactly what people are asking and answer those questions on your website and in your blog content so that you are being cited by AI, so that your information and your answers, and that's really how people are building brands and thought leadership today. So whatever it is your audience is looking for, you have to understand that so that you can provide that exact information and on your website and get cited for that.
So your informational queries don't really necessarily drive traffic, but when we focus on our traffic goals, where visitors actually will convert, we're like kind of planning ahead to that step. We want to structure content to win those feature snippets, and the best way to do that is going to be by answering the questions. Okay, so you can look at people also ask, right, and think about the definition boxes. So when you're answering what is X or how to Y, you think about that short answer that can become the snippet or the feature box. 40 to 60 word answers, bullet points work. You can do a table that gives the clear answer to those things. Also, we're looking, and we're going to talk about this coming up, but we're going to look more at things like the schema markup, entering into the FAQs kind of thing.
Well, and this is where your conversations with your clients can really come into play, or your audience, if you're being interactive and having those conversations on your social platforms. But if someone's asking you a question, other people probably have that same question. So, if you're working with a client or they ask you a question and you answer it, take a look at it and say, hey, could this be a part of a blog article? Or do other people have this need or have this concern?
And,
I
and
should,
what I'm sorry, what I was going to say, what you can do is, besides getting, once you have that like simplified, like what you would think would be the answer, the SERP or the snippet result, or the people also ask result, something that's going to gain that attention and be that clear and direct, like you're saying, then you're going to want to invest in that deep, in-depth content that takes that topic higher, deeper, further, skyrockets it, higher. What is it? What was it used to be called? Skyscraper, skyscraper content. Remember, it used to be
oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
the name for when you do it deeper, better, cover more topics. If somebody gives, the 10 best, you give the 12 best. Although I should tell you that I'm seeing two answers about lists. Like lists are one way that is a good thing, but lists are also one way that's a bad thing. I read that if you use lists on your website, you may actually be pulling juice away from you, because what happens is if a if a business or a site is listed on enough lists, what happens is that AI will determine that even the lowest common denominator is something they should cite. So even if you name the 10 top whatever apps or the 10 top whatever plugins, and different people make a list of their 10 top, and they have some overlaps, and maybe some overlaps are the best, but maybe some overlaps are the worst, or maybe they're not covering all the same things. So what happens is, if it gets a conglomerate of the worst results, AI will think, because they see it most often, that that's the result to deliver over your website, who's the actual reviewer. Have you heard or read anything about that? That's an interesting little blip in this thinking here with what's your top type of content.
Well, the one thing I've seen on lists lately is they can still be productive, but you still have to add context to them. like simple lists or how-tos aren't quite as effective anymore, but add some context, add your personal experience, why you came to that conclusion or how you came up with that list. Is it based on, projects you've worked on or things you've read and heard? You really have to back it up with some kind of experience, or if not necessarily a full case study, just to add context to it. Go beyond the simple list. People
When
are looking for more than that today.
when you become the like cited resource, or when you go deeper so that your content is, crawled and found to be the most in depth on the thing, you have, good quality links and you have a good schema markup, that will create an awareness of you as the source before traffic. Like it happens before traffic, if you can handle it that way. If you can become, think that when you're going to produce something, you got to produce it at a top level. So also commercial and decision stage content is a place where that conversion responsibility that I kind of hinted at before is going to come into play, because you're going to have maybe less visitors, so the weight of those visitors is going to be heavier, because you're going to have less chance to for like nurturing someone. Like you used to like start out, like I said in the intro, with like trying to get people to stay on your site and go to from one piece of content to another, to be to a visitor again. And then after they become, a recurring visitor, then you want to nurture them into signing up for your list. And then after they become part of your community and your list, then you want to, nurture them to a buying state, or to becoming a customer or buyer. And, this is all a very long, many touch point thing. What AI is doing is reducing those touch points, because they're researching for you and giving you the short list. And so you need to either make the short list, or you need to, stand out in, if in the list, in the smaller list that does make it to your site. And it could be through those brand searches. Remember last week we talked about the importance of brand searches and how high the number of brand searches were. So if people are actually looking from you, from your social presence and from, your articles that you share, what have you, even if they do read it on Twitter or on Facebook, once they are aware of you and then they think of you for what you do, then bam, then you're going to get them to the site. They're going to be more already intent driven, and that's going to make them a higher quality visitor. And then it's up to you to make your site, your landing page, your content page, wherever they land, to become, strong enough that it does a little more towards pushing the conversion, because you're going to have less time. The nurturing time is shrinking. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it shows you how important it is to be cited by AI and to be on the radar of LLMs, even while you're building your brand and trying to get people to come straight to you, because people are all over the place today. They have a lot going on. They're very stretched, and they're going to continue to utilize AI search results and LLMs going forward. Even if they do know your brand and love your brand and respect it, they may still find you through AI and search. So you still have to show up in that area to be part of the conversation today.
When you pump up your thought leadership, when you can earn backlinks, when you can get quoted, when you get asked as a guest onto things, when you can use and have original research that draws, because it's original, no one else is going to have it, so that's going to draw interest and, notice of your content. When you make and offer tools like Lisa's friend Ryan Robinson with The Right Blogger, all those things are going to help create visibility, even in possibly before the click, and that's going to be super important for you. Also, you're going to want to develop a source of truth mindset. okay, or mentality as your website standard. And I think this is important in getting all those things we were just talking about down pat and done correctly.
And this is one of the reasons I cringe at the whole, I brought up the whole Reddit keyword hack earlier. Like, I'm not a huge fan overall of these hacks. First of all, they're very shifty. You're you're building your brand on quicksand. It's constantly moving, but try to keep your website as clean as possible. And just once you start going down that road, I don't know. I don't think it's a good direction to go. So we definitely want to make you aware of these things that they're happening, but think twice about whether something's a good fit for you and your brand.
So you're going to want to really concentrate on things that we talked about, like that clarity and that singular message that we talked about last week, and understanding your tone, your company's personality, the voice that you put out there. So all those things are going to be what you're going to want to make really clear and direct, explaining who you are, what you offer, who it's for, why you're different immediately, because AI they need the info. They want the data. They don't want they don't get humor.
Right.
And you're going to want to honor site structure. You're going to have that hierarchy for that retrieval of finding your information, and that retrieval layering comes from structure. And we'll talk
And
about different things there.
that's as important as ever. I run into so many websites today that don't even have they don't have their back end set up at all. They don't have featured images for posts, or they don't have, headers. They don't have that structure on the back end for either Google or AI to pull. And that's not making you a very strong candidate to be cited in AI tools and by LLMs. So it's really important to do that today so that you can be pulled and cited. It's just one of the many reasons we keep saying your website is still vital today. It might be more important than ever.
You're going to want to infuse some concise, like zero click content on purpose. Like you're going to want to have in this hierarchy things like maybe Q&A sections, or maybe FAQs, or maybe definitional paragraphs that can be quoted. You want to have strong brand mentions in your text. You want to also maybe target specific long tail queries where SERP is less crowded because it's more specific, and use aggressive SERP features to win that visibility and click, and to still win that. Also, if you can use interactive tools, if you can come up with calculators and assessments that deliver a unique value that users can get directly, that only applies to you, that's going to also give you a leg up. So also, what I like to say, what we've come up with, is that you're looking to craft an evidence engine of everything you are, of your complete essence. And you're also going to want to become a conversion machine for when people do make it to your site. So you're going to concentrate extra hard on, how well you take care of everything on your site. And here's something that might surprise you. Our friend Andy Crestodina of Orbit Media, of the famous Orbit Media, says if you only fix one page, fix this one. An attractive, AI attractive homepage. What do you think about that?
Your homepage is really your curb appeal today for your presence online. So it's crucial to draw. These stats are crazy. It's absolutely crucial to draw people in, and machines in. Machines like curb appeal too.
And I like how you can just clearly see here that the the times factor on every other page on your website other than your home page where AI and AI crawl is concerned. Let's just go there. Um, is that 15 times on a home page where every other page is less than a percent. I mean, or it's not a percent, but it's a times boost. Um, let's see if I can explain
I'm
it better.
certainly seeing that on my website. I mean, it's
He made the chart controlled for website size, like the number of URLs, because of the data set that includes sites that are both large and small. That's why he did it in a times thing, the way he did it.
mhm.
But other findings by Andy is that the size of your site correlates with AI and AI attention. So bigger sites automatically pull in more total AI attention. And your home and services pages attract the most visitors from AI sources, where our articles might underperform. But even if you don't see a lot of traffic, AI does read this stuff. He calls it a dark library effect. So your articles get summarized. They might even be cited but not get clicked, he says. And he says for information intent users, AI does a wonderful job satisfying without sending people to the website. You got your answer, you don't have a reason to click. But think about this, especially in the B2B space. So, for commercial intent users or buyers, really, of any kind, it could be B2C also, but who are making that actual decision, AI is going to narrow that list, but users still are going to want to visit the website to get to the final buy. And so
Absolutely.
audit your homepage, he says, and audit those service and product pages. And he says you can like even branch out like from your main service hub. You could actually make pages specific to particular types of services that will fit particular queries, particular customers, particular keywords, and make a bunch of them rather than just like making everything on one page. And that kind of follows the rule that AI pages that are going to do well are going to be those that follow, again, structure that includes having one topic. You know what I mean? One
Mhm.
clear primary topic, one clear primary intent. And it, with the case of the service pages, it would be like how to price X service instead of doing an article to all the services. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to when you do pull people into that site because you mentioned especially in B2B, people are still going to click through because they need to sell their decision. That's a recommendation that they're probably making either to a higher up or to a committee. So they need context and backup to support that decision and why they're recommending you. It's also an opportunity to upsell. Maybe they came looking for an answer to something or for help with one issue, and then they get there and realize, oh, your business offers this service too. Maybe they can help us with this while we're here. So it's a great way to build a relationship with a current client or to land, new business based on the whole scope of what you offer.
Absolutely. Also, again, per Andy, you want to showcase core positioning with clarity. You want to offer the details, the evidence, and the answers. And you want to do all this on your homepage where you'll optimize it with love for AI. Like, so AI will give your homepage love. You want to make sure you cover all these details, right? And um, let's see. So, what you're doing is honoring site structure and search principles all along.
Well,
And
and this is so you mentioned to showcase your core positioning with clarity. That is critical, especially on your homepage, because we've just gone over how much AI is pulling from your homepage for to cite their search results and to put you and your brand out there. So, we've all been to websites that we don't exactly know what they do because they're using such vague language and very general language. It's essential to drill down to what you do, even if you offer different services, to really be clear about what you do immediately so that people aren't guessing and that the machines aren't guessing, that they can cite you and put your brand out there in the world for what people can find you for.
And here I've put an outline together that it's all the stuff I'm stammering over.
But
But
this is the
the
stuff that people, you see some people saying, oh, this doesn't really matter before. It matters more than ever. AIO or whatever you want to call it has not gotten rid of SEO. It's just, it's bolstered the need for it even more. You've got to have your ducks in a row on your site and on the back end so that you got to make it easy for the machines and the people because we all want easy. That's not just a human thing, it's a machine thing too. They're going to pull from the people who it's easy to find, they know what they're looking for, and they can deliver clear, concise answers in their search results.
I also want to mention that our friend Andy Crestadina mentions that content marketing, this applies to your blog and your articles and your pages because you want to still make content hubs, those, and have cornerstone content, all the things that we understand about how content is built and structured, that still applies. But what he says, and I wanted to share this because I think this is important, especially for bloggers and writers and also business owners whose blog is that moving part of your website. That's something that should be, up to date and new and, it keeps your site alive. And your site, we're going to be working towards one of the changes in our website is it's going to be more interactive. It's going to be more going on without your presence because your site's going to be AI interactive, just like the agents or people using it. And so there's the transformation happening. That's a little bit further out. But what he says is content marketing is valuable, even if there is no referral traffic. Because he says zero search referrals doesn't mean zero brand value. Back to that. So we shouldn't apply search traffic goals to articles that were never going to win those clicks in the first place, he says. But remember, the many and the powerful benefits of content marketing goes beyond clicks from search and AI. It goes to sales, support, word of mouth, email list growth. It goes to social engagement and thought leadership that makes you unique and one of kind, and your homepage and services page, and all the things that are going to matter before people make a final decision, and so they click.
Well,
So
and we have referenced last week's show several times because it is such a great precursor to this show. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat as well so that if you did miss us last week, since we were kicking off a holiday weekend, you can go back and watch that show and really get in on, what we were talking about, building your brand and finding your brand voice, because it ties in directly with what we're talking about this week.
throw Andy's link in there too if you can, James, because
Okay.
his site, this is just one article of many that he has that will help you in this area that I'm talking about, or using some of the quotes and some of his information from today. But he has so many good things. He's one of my faves. So when we cultivate the click for the click, we're adding some oomph, okay, to our site getting seen. We're working on adding oomph, but that can be done in a lot of ways. That can be done in the real world, off of digital. You can work with public relations. I have a great show interviewing Marcy Clark, public relations, and she talks about public relations in a digital world, and how sometimes that off-site public relations, that landing a television show, that landing a big magazine, a name magazine or name newspaper, things like that, can really, like, all of a sudden skyrocket your brand or your visibility, your reach suddenly in unexpected ways. Also being seen, as we've seen with Stephanie Garcia's examples, where your real life events, you know, build into your digital footprint and build into that reputation and brand. And those brand searches are more than 50%. And those, when people are looking for your brand and your brand is being seen, then it's going to be noticed by AI and search. So some of the tricks that you can work on to cultivate the click beyond these things I was just mentioning are via your content. Like we said, go deeper. Offer comparisons, offer case studies. Lisa's been working on some of those. Do a deep guide. I've done some lead magnets for some clients that have been really great deep guides on things, including like checklists or templates, calculators and tools, like we've been talking about with Ryan and The Right Blogger, strong landing pages, which Neil Patel talks about a lot, original research, which is Neil and Andy and a lot of the people that we look to and that get noticed outside of just search. And, you know, all the things that you can do. Also, you want to have a voice that offers some originality, that brings some experience and know-how, that can offer specific examples, that talk, that, you know, have authorship and proof, that, you know, are technically accessible to
Yeah,
everyone.
don't be afraid to share your personal experience. We've talked about that a lot. Don't be overwhelmed by, you know, going into these deep dives and building case studies. It's not as overwhelming as you may think it is, but start with sharing your experience and what you're working on and how you're helping clients, and that can lead into these other things. So, plus it gives you a unique point of view to share with your audience.
Absolutely. So some of the conclusions here are things like, okay, also, I'm sorry, before we move on, the cultivating also involves things like the social aspects, the backlinks that you might be able to get, your quotes or appearances that appear in other blogs, or if you do, you know, if you're a guest or if you do an in-person training and things like that, how you cross promote on platforms, and how, again, you incorporate those personal in-person experiences with your digital world, and, you know, you create crossovers. So some of the conclusions we have is that we want to be, our website needs to be a source of truth. It should hold the clearest version of who you are, what you offer, who it's for, why you're different. That's been the same forever, but we have to be clearer than ever on these things for the readers to read, the AI to crawl. We want to remember our structured retrieval layer, right, with pages that need headings, the semantic HTML, concise definitions. We can decide if we want to use lists or not. We can use tables or schema. We can also, you know, even things like giving alt tags to your visuals, having lists on your, like, not lists like listing like we talked about before, but like bullet point lists, you know, that kind of condense things. Becoming an evidence engine so that your site has those original insights, that expertise. You have customer proof and examples. You have current updates so that you stand out and you're not commodity. You're obviously not commodity content, right? And you need to concentrate a little bit on, the conversion machine that your website needs to be more so than before, because fewer visitors may arrive. So each click needs a better path to action with fast pages, focused landing pages, strong CTAs, and some transformational and interactive things going on. What do you think, Jane?
All right, I was trying to drop in this one last link.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I think we've made our case that your website is more important than ever today. I cringe when I see, especially small business owners, and I know we wear a lot of hats and have a lot of on our plates, but they say you don't, you're on social, you don't need a website. That is not true at all. It's social media is great. We've talked about it before. You don't own your social presences, you're renting space there, but you absolutely need a website to be your home on the web and to be the hub of your content and online presence.
So we can safely say that organizations that consistently publish authentic expertise, organize it into machine readable knowledge, and make it easier for AI agents to discover, trust, and act upon will be the winners. And your website is no longer, as we contended at the beginning, it's no longer just where traffic lands. Instead, it's where search engines and AI systems learn what your business means, whether they should trust it, and whether a customer should choose it. Ta-da!
And I went ahead and just dropped the link for the Orbit blog, Andy Crestodina's company's blog, because they have so many great articles, original research, tips on using AI, SEO, and how to design your website today. So there's a ton of great information on there. So you can find that in the comments as well.
Yeah, they're a terrific source, and they're really nice over there too. So definitely check out Orbit Media. Definitely check out our last live and our next live. Thank you for being here today to check out the Marketing Mirror. Please let us know if you have any questions, comments. If you can like or share, that would be super cool. And do you want to say anything else?
And if you have any feedback or suggestions on future topics, I mean, we definitely have some ideas. We're planning this out, but we want to hear from you. So if there's a topic that you want us to cover, that you have questions about, or you want to get other people's experience on it, let us know, and we'll be happy to work that into our content schedule.
Absolutely. Definitely. We're here for you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out the Marketing Mirror. And I'm trying to hit this piece. We'll see. Oh, I know. I got to quit sharing first. I'm sorry. My fault. Everyone, take care. See you next week. Thank you for checking out the Marketing Mirror with your host, Sue Ann from RightMix for Business, and your co-host, Jamie Shine of Clearly Conveyed Communications. Brought to you by RightMix for Business and Electrocast Media. Thank you.
Electrocast.